Hey guys, welcome back to another Flesh and Blood video. This video is proudly brought to you by the House of Cards, the official sponsor of my stream. Be sure to check out the link in the description below for all of your Flesh and Blood needs. Guys, RTN season is right around the corner, and I took some time to pull aside everybody on the team and individually ask them a few questions that might help you guys prepare for Road to Nat season. So Nathaniel, we're moving into the heavy hitters meta. You know, we've seen a lot of the cards. We've played with the cards a little bit, but we've not really had a major chance to play with them. What kind of impact do you think heavy hitters is going to have on Road to National season?
As far as the meta goes, I feel like we're heading towards like a Guardian Brute meta. Maybe more Brute than Guardian.
Okay.
Because considering KO looks pretty consistent, as well as Levia already being good right now.
So Nick, you know, RTN season's right around the corner. You know, we've seen a little bit of heavy hitters. Like, we've seen the cards, but we've really not played a lot with them. How do you think heavy hitters is really going to affect Road to National season?
I think it's going to make the heroes a lot more stronger. I think Bravo is going to be really strong now with the new cards. Reinar with his new cards, new blues for him. I think the meta will slow down of heavy hitters. We're going to see that change, I think.
Okay. So looking at a slower meta, and you mentioned Guardian and Brute really getting the biggest support here. If you had to pick Brute or Guardian, which one of those classes do you think will be more dominant?
I think Reinar will come out being the dominant just because of his new blues and his new cards that buys his times and buys his turns.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that the beat chest mechanic looks really good with Reinar.
Yep.
So Silas, with the release of heavy hitters moving into Road to National season, we've seen a lot of the cards now. How do you feel like heavy hitters is going to have an impact on Road to Nat season?
I think Brute is definitely going to come out in force. People love playing Reinar and KO, so I think that's going to be a highly represented deck. Olympia has some unique things as well, so I think Warriors will be a lot higher than we're used to seeing as well.
Okay, gotcha. So, you kind of mentioned Brute as the front-runner class, and I think a lot of people feel that way so far. If you had to pick between KO and Reinar, which one do you think will show more dominance during RTN season?
Probably Reinar. I think he's more consistent than KO and can play a more mid-range when he needs to in certain matchups. From our games, KO really struggles into the pure aggro decks. He just can't keep up with them.
Yeah, the no blocks are pretty tough. Okay, Zach, so moving into Road to National season is really like the first time that, some of us are getting to see heavy hitters in action. How do you think that heavy hitters as a set as a whole is really going to affect RTN season?
I think the biggest effect on the meta for RTN seasons will probably be you'll see a lot more Brute. We'll, of course, get a few Guardian cards that will probably massively help Bravo or whatever current Guardian does take the top spot in that class. But the most important thing, I think it will help Brute out a lot in their whatever they choose, whether it be new KO or old trusty Reinar.
Okay, so that was going to be my follow-up question on that. Do you think that, considering that you think Brute is going to get a lot of support, and we've seen some of the cards, Brute has gotten a lot of support to this point, do you think that KO will be more predominant than Reinar?
I don't think so, but also I haven't really played with a lot of the cards at all, so I could be completely wrong. But I would say Reinar will still cement himself as the top Brute just due to his hero ability is very good, but I think he'll get some new cards. But I'm excited to see what KO does. The hero ability on KO is very powerful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, Nathaniel, moving into RTN season, the team tests a lot, and we really try to cover as many heroes as possible to make sure we're prepared for, the competitive season. But if you had to pick 3 heroes that you would narrow it down to go play tomorrow, what 3 heroes would you play?
I think for me, right now, between Fi and Levia for me, if I were to throw a third hero in there, it might be KO, because it's kind of difficult to see which one's better in the meta right now between KO and Levia. I feel like it's Levia, but those would be the 3 that I pick.
So based off of those 3, is it, Fi 1, Levia 2, KO 3, or is that in a different order?
Yeah, based off reps.
So, Nick, leading up the Road to Nat season, the team, we do a lot of testing, and we really look at a lot of different heroes to see what's going to be viable. If you had to narrow it down to 3, what are the 3 heroes you're looking at playing at RTN season right now?
Yeah, I'm looking to play probably Reinhardt being first, Bravo being second. Then I would go playing Dash would be the third. If any of the
Dash
metas
IO
are
or
fast.
Dash or OG Dash?
OG Dash.
Okay, and so that's the order for you as well. You'd look at Reinhardt, then Bravo, then OG Dash.
Yeah.
So Silas, as we move into RTN season, the team does a lot of testing, and we really try to figure things out. What are the 3 heroes you're most likely to play at Road to Nationals?
Top 3 I'd play was probably start with Fi. I mean, I just had a great performance in Cincinnati with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Heavy Hitters is going to shake up enough of the matchups to where I still don't think he's a good deck. Second would be Azalea. I've put a lot of games into her, testing for previous seasons, so I could pick that up. And then the third would be Reinhardt, just because I've played him in Blitz a lot, and he has some fun play patterns.
Okay, so you've narrowed it down to Fi, Azalea, and Reinhardt. Now, gun to your head, you have to pick one. Which one are you going to play?
Oh, Fi.
So as we step into Road to Nationals season, like we just talked about heavy hitters and how it's probably going to shake up the metagame a little bit. What 3 heroes are you most likely to play at Road to Nationals?
Well, I've been playing Azalea as a pet deck for a while, but so happens that it's okay in right now's meta. We'll see after Heavy Hitters comes out if it still is a top contender in the meta. So Azalea would be one choice. Bravo is probably the next choice. Getting new Guardian cards, Bravo is already very good right now. Just takes reps and little to no mistakes. But the dark horse deck that is sneaking into the back of my mind coming up on this RTN season is Dash, OG Dash, not Dash IO. OG Dash has a really good matchup into Bravo. I think it can race with some of the fastest decks out there. And no one ever knows exactly what Dash they're going to see whenever you flip over Dash as your hero.
Okay, so now that we've narrowed it down to 3, if you had to go to a Road to Nationals event tomorrow, what deck would you play?
Probably Azalea.
Nathaniel, as we look into the heavy hitters metagame, like there's a lot of really good cards, and like the metagame is probably going to see a decent shakeup here. Do you think that aggro, mid-range, or combo is going to be the best archetype in the new format?
What's combo? Combo is Kano and and Bolton.
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
Roger Bodie brought Bolton. That deck seemed actually pretty cool. I'd play it. I don't know about it at a tournament, but I'd play it.
Yeah.
It's between aggro and mid-range, especially with Guardian meta or Guardian Brute meta coming up. If there's more Guardians in the format, mid-range is going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
And aggro is going to go into the mid-range. Mid-range, you can have some little mid-range battles. Who gets Blood Rush first? Sounds fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think maybe it's a little bit dependent upon, what your locals play at your RTN?
Definitely. But it's a still pretty big meta RTN. You get 30, 40 people.
Sure.
It kind of stays around what the normal meta is.
So Nick, looking into the heavy hitters meta, do you think that aggro, mid-range, or combo is probably going to be the best in that format?
I think aggro is going to be the strongest in that format.
Okay, so when you say aggro, do you think like Fi aggro, or like are we talking like Reinhardt aggro, like where you can block a little bit and play like aggro, or what? Break that down for me a little bit.
Like a Reinhardt, Bravo.
So decks that can decks that can block but can also have like big explosive upside potential.
Yeah.
So Silas, looking at a new format, do you think that aggro, mid-range, or combo is going to be best in the heavy hitters format?
Probably, in my opinion, mid-range that's leaning slightly more aggro. Decks that can play defensive until their explosive turns, I think, are going to have a big advantage, because if Azalea comes in with a red in the ledger, dominated for 8, and you block it out as like Fi, it really shuts down her game plan, and I think it can swing the matchup.
Okay, so Zach, looking at the metagame as a whole, do you think that an aggro deck, a mid-range deck, or a combo deck is best in the current format?
I think they each have their own place. Right now, I've been playing a lot of mid-range with whatever deck I am playing. Just trying to extract the most value out of each card, I think, is a really big component of this game in general. But right now, it seems like just meta is very, very punishing if you do not try and get the value out of your cards as much as you can.
Okay, so you would say that leaning towards mid range is probably the number one contender in the metagame right now.
I think so. I don't think mid range Bolton should do that, but you play combo Bolton. But with the decks that I'm choosing to play, I think mid ranging opponents down to a reasonable live total and then pivoting to a aggressive stance if you're ahead is what I'm at least liking playing right now and having success with.
All right, Nathaniel, so I have a very hypothetical question for you here. Let's say you haven't played Flesh and Blood in like a month and a half. You've been busy with holidays, family work, whatever's going on, and you're going to an RTN tomorrow, and you have to pick a deck to play. What deck are you picking up with as little reps as possible to try and win with?
If I'm trying to win, I'm going to take an aggro deck, and it's probably going to be Fi.
Okay.
I think the play lines are fairly easy in general, like 75% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You can figure out what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I think right now it's gotten some good stuff in heavy hitters, and I think it'll play into the field a lot better than it did even in this last meta.
Okay, Nick, so hypothetical question for you here. You haven't played Flesh and Blood in the last month or two because, you've had family, holidays, whatever's been going on, and you got a road to Nats tomorrow. What deck are you going to pick up and hope to have the best chance of winning with?
Probably for them to pick OG Dash.
Okay.
It's easy to learn. She blocks good, and she has explosive turns.
Okay, Salas, so a hypothetical question here. Let's say that, you haven't played Flesh and Blood in the last month. You've been busy with family, holidays, whatever's going on, and you have a road to Nationals tomorrow, and you have to pick up a deck. Which one would you pick up?
I would probably still say Fi, just because his game plan is pretty straightforward. Just play your cards. As long as you can do that, I think you'll be okay.
No blocks and all gas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, last question I got for you is you haven't played Flesh and Blood in the last month. You've been busy, holidays, anything's going on in your life. So you've had no time to test, and you have no time to test before tomorrow's RTN. What deck are you picking up and playing?
I would suggest Fi. Fi is one of the more linear decks you can play. It allows you to learn while you're playing or very quickly in a couple of rounds with your friends before the tournament. It's very good into most decks that are at top of the meta right now. It itself, Fi is in the top of the meta, I would think. You can throw Kodachis in. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I think it's just the most explosive linear deck that we have in the game right now. So that's what I would suggest to someone that hadn't been playing recently.
Now that makes a lot of sense, man. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the insight and to look into what, the Team House of Cards is thinking and how we're looking at preparing for Road to Nationals. If you guys have any questions or you feel like we missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.